Hello, welcome to another edition of Delta Media Group's Tech Tuesday. So today we're going to stick with kind of a theme we've had going on for the past few weeks. We are going to just go over some of our newer updates. So these are basically some of the features that have been in the system for a while that we have just made some new modifications to and kind of made them easier for you to use. So into the DeltaNet we go. Now specifically, we have made some changes this week to the customer center, kind of the way that looks and works. And we've made some recent additions to the market landing page, or not market landing page, market watch and save search systems. So we'll take a look at those. So here we are on the welcome page. I'm going to go down to customers and then customer center. And here we are. So on the customer center, you can see that we have changed the way these boxes are formatted out. Everything is still mobile responsive, so they'll all work just as well on your phone. And we've got things just lined up a little bit better overall in these top two boxes. Now the main things we've added here is if we scroll down, you can see that all of these columns are now sortable. So if I want to look at this list and I want to see only customers that I have a market watch set up for, I can click my button, it'll resort my customer list, and I will see only the customers. Now this is the hot new customers box, so this is only customers with recent activity that do not have a market watch set up. Or if I click it again, now it's sorted by the ones with the most market watches set up. Now, and the rest of the functionality still works. So if I go up here and I want to filter this down by a name, I can type that in. It will still filter that section down. Or I can filter it down by whatever their last activity was specifically. So the other thing we've done here that actually a lot of people have really enjoyed so far, including me, is when you scroll down this page, these are no longer scrollable boxes. So when you hit these boxes or when your mouse hits these boxes, as you scroll down the page, you can just keep scrolling. So you don't have to, like this box where you'll scroll within the box, you no longer run into that with these customer boxes, which is kind of nice. Now, if you'd like to see more customers in one of these specific boxes, you can also increase your overall number there and show more on a single page. Now, I don't have more to show on the page, so it doesn't get any bigger, at least not for the customer groups page. But if you had more than 10 groups, you can set it to show all of them at once, as long as you have less than 100, that is. And now if we go down here, we have our filters in the total customer list also, and yet again, those work exactly the same way. You type in a name there, it'll filter your list down. There we go. We can show more entries on a single page if we want, or we can filter this down by just specific group names or any of our labels. So all that filtering functionality is the same, but with the additional ability to view these in multiple pages like this and mainly to sort by the different columns. So this is something that we've had a lot of requests for actually. That way if you need to see just your customers that you don't have a saved search set up for, you can sort this by saved searches. So these are the ones that I have the most, but if I sort it the other way, these are all with 0. So I'll be able to easily see at the top of my list the customers with no saved searches and go in and add saved searches to them. Or market watches or any of the other criteria here. All right, so that is number one. Now, if I go ahead and click on a customer and go to their profile page, you'll see that most of this is about the same. We have made the notes box a little bit bigger, and we've also added the ability to pin notes, and I went over that in an earlier video. But if I were to add a note here, I can pin that note. So this is my note, and if I pin it, it'll keep that note at the top all the time. So any additional notes I add will fill in below it instead of staying on top. Plus you can more easily hit this page and see what all of your recent notes and recent activity are on this customer without having to scroll down or scroll through a bunch of notes. Now as we go down here, in our Save Searches and Market Watch Report section. So this is roughly the same that it has been, except we've added some additional features here. So if I add a Save Search now, you've always been able to do market and radius, but now I can also do area. So if I choose area, this is going to let me draw a polygon. So if I know a specific neighborhood, I can go ahead and draw a box around it. And now only properties within that polygon will be included in this search. So instead of just being limited to radius or just a market name, you can go in here, you can actually draw a box around the neighborhood, click next, And then you have all the same filters that you had before to narrow the search down further. So if you wanted only a certain price range within that highlighted neighborhood or certain beds and baths, you have the options for all that. Now the additional feature we put here is if I go down here and turn email notifications on, what this will do, and this has always been in here, but what this will do is whenever a new property comes up that matches this search criteria, it'll send an email to the customer. The additional feature we have added is you can say send all first. So if I select yes for that, when I save this saved search, it is going to send an initial email out to the customer that has all of the matches in it. And then from that point forward, it'll send out an email every time a new listing is attached. So if I click done, there we go, that sends out. And then the additional functionality we've added here is I can now click on results, and that'll open up a new window and take me to the results of this search. I can also click send now, and what that'll do is send me all of the current results that match this search. So if if they didn't receive one of the emails, or I set it up and then down the road I just want to, maybe email notifications weren't turned on initially. So I decided I want to start sending these to my customer. I can go in here, I can hit send now, and that'll send all the results to them. And then from that point forward, when I turn email notifications on, every time a new one comes in, it'll send them another email that says, this is a new property that matches your search criteria. And then same as before, you can still edit the search, or you can also delete it. Now if we go over to market watches, so if I add a market watch, again, we've added the area element in here, so just to give you an idea what they look like. Market watch, you would just enter the name of your market. I'm killing it, there we go. And then by radius is the same as before, you just have a map radius. You just move your circle around here, and then change the size of your circle, and this interface is the same as the saved search one. But then lastly, just like saved searches, we've added the by area abilities so that you can draw a polygon for this as well. So let's see what the market looks like in Maslin. But a really strange shape in Maslin. There we go. But in addition to drawing the polygon, and actually in addition to any of the other search setups for market watches, it used to be just based on market. So the only thing you could do is you would enter your market name, your radius, and that was it. So now you can also do this polygon and add in additional criteria for the properties that will show up or that this market watch will take into account. So if I want to put in a price range to further fine-tune what shows up in this market watch, along with home size, bedrooms, bathrooms, all of this different criteria, I can use all this to further fine-tune the market watch to send to this customer. And the idea is, the more fine-tuned your market watch report is, or the one that you're sending to the customer, the more they're seeing the information they actually want, and the more engaged they're going to be. It also gives it a more accurate representation of the market. If you have a market that is half and half condos, or half and half prices below, or homes below 100,000, and then in a certain section of that neighborhood, it's homes that are all above 200,000. If you don't want to include both of those in what shows up in the market watch because they're not both relevant to what the customer is looking for, you can put in a price range here, and then that'll filter out all the properties you don't really want to be included. So once you fill in your criteria, you just click done. That adds the market watch to the system here, and from here you can modify the frequency. So right now it is monthly, and they will always be monthly by default, but you can set it to go out quarterly, bi-weekly, or weekly also. And if you wanted to go back in and modify this, change the criteria or change the area, you can use the edit button. You can click the preview button to see it either in your browser or have the system send you an email that has this market watch in it, so you can kind of see it in your email and really get an idea of what it looks like. And then lastly, of course, you can delete it. So if we delete, confirm delete, that market watch is gone. And then same for the save search, delete. And I would confirm delete. Now, one other thing I'll add about the save searches, you can also have yourself copied on these. So you can do this individually per save search you set up. So every time you set up a save search, you can select this copy me on this email so that when the save search goes to your customer, the system will also send one to you. But if you know you want to get that on all of your save searches or market watches that go out, you can go down here to leads and contacts and down to settings. And we will scroll down a bit, and here we are. So we have automatic home finder. You can check this box, and you'll automatically be CC'd on all of the save search emails you set up. And then this is the same thing for market watches. If you check this box, you'll automatically be CC'd on all the market watches without having to shouldn't say without having to check that box. That box will just be checked for all of them, all the ones you set up by default. And then if you change it, it'll keep what you changed on that specific MarketWatch or Saved Search. But for any new ones you set up or any ones that you already have set up that you haven't modified specifically, it'll follow this setting. All righty. Well, as always, thanks a lot for joining me this week. I hope that you've learned something about Saved Searches and MarketWatches, and we're really proud of these updates to the Customer Center. I mean, these are just seem like fairly simple things, but it's stuff that can really help you out from a workflow standpoint. Just little things that make it simpler for you to do your job. So, thanks a lot for joining me, and if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to give us a call or send an email into support@deltagroup.com. Any questions, concerns, or even suggestions for videos, you can also comment on our video on Facebook or YouTube. If you'd like to get notifications of these videos, feel free to jump on our Facebook page and like that and share it out with everybody you know so that they can all get notifications for when we go live with these new videos. And you can also follow our YouTube channel if you'd like. So, thanks a lot for joining me, and I'll see you next week.